I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. We're going to have lots of fun with our project today. Let's get started. So for this project we're going to be using caulking, and I'm using Dab, the Alex Plus. You want to make sure this is white. And I pick mine up at Walmart. This is under $2 usually, and how I know it, because some of those get so mixed in, the last numbers are 101, so that is what I use. I also use an easy caulking gun. This makes it so much easier to use and to load over the other ones. I also use a frosting tip cover. This is kind of a newer thing. I purchased that at Hobby Lobby, and I can put that on the end and save it. And also my clippers. I just clip the ends off of the caulking with that, and then that makes it really easy to do, and we're ready to go. So I'm going to teach you how to make faux bees out of the caulking, and I couldn't find any patterns that I liked, and my bees were all over the place when I first started making them, so I made us patterns. You can find the bee transfer patterns at miriamjoy.com, and they are there for you. So for the bee wings, we're going to be using the clear caulking this time. And I'm again using the DAP, the Alex Plus. If you look at Walmart, you know the last 3 digits are 071. Again, this is the clear. This is a whole different beast. This works so much different than the regular caulking. It's stickier. It's just totally different. So we're going to do our bee wings in that so that they're you can see through them. So I'm going to put a frosting adapter into my frosting bag. Today we're going to be using a 103 rose petal tip on our double wing bees, and I usually use a 104 on my single winged bees. So, but you can try. You might like both sizes. That's really up to you. We're going to cover our sheets with wax paper or parchment paper. You always want to do this because they do not like to come off of the patterns. I threw my last batch just completely away. I couldn't get it unstuck. So we want to make sure that you have a waxy side. I tried spraying it with vegetable spray, and that didn't work well either. It just slid off of the paper. I don't know if you lightly sprayed your hands and rubbed across the paper, if that would be better. So it had a little bit, but not too much. So I'm going to tape this on both of those, and we're going to get started. I'm going to take the clear caulking. I'm going to put it straight into the frosting bag, and you can see it kind of has a milky color. Oh, we got a pop there. A little bit of air in it. You never do more than half of the tube. Now, this actually really doesn't need a lot. You'd be surprised how far it goes, but you'd rather have a smaller amount than a large amount. You want to make sure that you can work with it with your hand. hold it in your hand nice and comfortable. Probably could have done about twice that. So when we do the bee wings, they need to touch all the way through. That's real important. Otherwise, the bees and the body from the wings fall apart. And I've also noticed that we want the top wing to be bigger than the bottom, but the one that gets put on last is usually the largest. So we want that to be our top one. So we're going to start with our bottom one here. We're going to push and pull. And you can see that's nice and thick. I did not push that all the way down. I actually had it off of the pattern sheet, not directly on it, and pull. So you can clean your tip in between to keep it nice and clean. And push and pull and push and pull. Now see how that's coming through the body? That's okay. We're going to cover that up with other parts, and it's also going to turn clear. So we're going to do another one here. Push and pull and push and pull. Now, when you get done with this side, I flip them over and I do the other side now. Because the bottom one is on the bottom, we can do the top, or this one, last, and it ends up being wider. So our two bigger ones are on the top. We want to try and keep them the same size. And you can see how we're meeting in the middle there. And this is nice and thick. Okay, it should look just like that. Now, when it is completely dry, it is clear. And we're going to put some shimmer glitter in the middle of it. And the reason being is when you're actually doing these, it gets so clear and transparent that you can't see the wings. So I like to have the glitter in them, and I think it just adds glitter, makes everything better anyway. So do that before it dries all the way. And let's try doing a single wing bee over here. So we do all of one side first, and you can switch to the 104 if you want to. This seems to be fine. This is still the 103 rose petal tip. And then once you got that side done, if you don't like a wing, wipe it off. And then we'll come over and do the other side and try and make them even. I noticed that for some reason one of mine always ends up bigger or smaller than the other one. So that is what our wings look like. Now this guy's a little bit puffier up there. You could actually take your tip if you wanted to and kind of flatten that a little bit more to match the other side. And again, we're going to put the glitter into those. And it's going to take, I leave them overnight, but you'll be able to tell the milk color completely goes away and they're completely clear. So let those completely dry before you do the bodies, otherwise the bodies bleed into the bee. For the bee bodies, I colored our frosting with buttercup yellow because we want that more bee color. We don't want them a bright yellow color, school bus color. They're not really that color. And I am using a number 10 round tip. If you find that you need to do a different size, up or down right there, you can do that. So what we're going to do, these are not quite clear all the way, but they're pretty much dry to the touch, so they should not bleed. So we're going to do a round circle, and I'm holding it at a 45-degree angle. And we're going to pull that back towards the body. And then we're going to start this body process, and we're just going to squeeze that out, get that body in there, and pull that tail up. And you actually get like a little stinger on our little bee dude. So the round little head, and then we're going to do that little body and pull him up. The more you kind of squeeze the body, the fatter he should get. If you even wanted to do him and with a bigger tip, you could if you wanted it a little bit fatter. That's just a personal opinion. And if you wanted to do a black head and do a yellow body, you could do that. Now I might let those two dry before I put them together, because I would worry a little bit about bleeding again, but you could experiment with that and check that out. But you can see how much more consistent these are, and we've got these cute little bee bodies going along here. And once that kind of starts to dry, we're going to talk about their little antennae. And I used flower stamens. I had a tough time finding anything other than white where I was looking. So this is kind of what I had, and I thought about spray painting these white. But we did go ahead and order some in, so if you need some of those, you can check those out at miriamjoy.com, and we'll help you with that just to make it a little bit easier for you. But I took about 10 of these at a time and used my wire cutters and cut them. We'll see if I need to make these a little bit longer, a little bit shorter here. But you want to do this while your bee body is still wet, while you can still stick these in. And you may even want to consider doing them a row at a time. I had thought about that as well. And I wondered if I was going to hit the inside. So you're going to have to decide if you think that is too long. If you want to go shorter with those little guys or longer with those little guys, that is a personal opinion. You could put them on with a liner, but I think that they are so fragile, they are very hard to get off and use and keep them intact. And you don't have to put the antennae on. My first batch of bees did not have any antennae, but I think these really make the bees. I think these really give it character. So that is a personal opinion. So once your bees are dry, we're going to come in and add our liner work to them. You can do it with a liner with your frosting. You can do it painting them. For me, the easiest way is to use a permanent marker. Just make sure that you do not varnish over that. Also, do not varnish them if you decide to. I usually do not on the wax paper. You want to remove them first if you do. But I just come in, I put my eyes on, and then I just do 3 lines all the way from one side to the other side. And you may find it easier if you pull them off the wax paper and do this. Whatever you feel is easier for you. And if you want to add a little bit of a line right here to make the head separate from the neck, you can do that as well. So there's all kinds of things you can do with the bee. Let's do the double-winged bee. And I like sometimes to put a smile on them. I know that's not where their mouth would be, but it's fun. And I just come down here. I'm kind of following those curves. And actually I do it opposite of what the pattern has it. So I don't know why, but that's the way the frosting goes. And I should have done that when I did the pattern, but that's the way I saw them or something then. Now to remove these, you start on the side with the wing and start to remove them gently, 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 gently. The bee part is easy. The frosting part, it's the clear part that's tougher. And then once you get the body of the bee, then usually you can just come in and pull the rest of our little bee off. Isn't he cute? Do not try and reuse these a second time. It does not end well. I've tried that to do it a second time and it just doesn't work well. And these are coming off really good. Just bringing them lightly. But don't let these sit more than a day or two after they're dry, because they get harder and harder as time goes along. But that's how we make our little bees.